Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Rob Has a Podcast. I am your host with the most, Pooya and Vakili, ready to break down the special eviction episode, aka the final four veto and eviction episode of Big Brother Canada. Our penultimate episode. The road to the finals began last night. It will conclude tomorrow night tomorrow night around this time. We'll still have 17 minutes of the show left, but that's tomorrow's problem, not today's. We're here with a lovely panel, ready to talk about everything we saw. And I'm going to start like I did last night. Going to hit it with the counterclockwise and just say hello to one half of the Wrestling Wrap-Up, one half of Crime Scene Podcast, and one out of one birthday girl of the night. It is Mari Fourth. Mari, how you doing tonight?
Yes, I'm doing great. It's my birthday. I'm about to make this podcast all about me. Sorry if you came to talk about Baby Canada. That's not happening. Definitely channeling Koozie right now, if you didn't know. But no, I'm so glad to be here. I mean, we have the keys. We can do whatever we want to. I mean, this episode was kind of a nothing burger, but we're about to make it fun. Okay. And thank you, Jack.
That's how we do it around here. We make a meal out of nothing, but we have a good time doing it. And yes. Happy birthday once again, Mari.
Thank you, guys.
Right above Mari, it is a man that needs no introduction, royalty in his own right, king of Twitter, one half of the Challenge podcast over on the Dom and Colin Network, one half of the Hot Dummies on Island's Love Island feed. It is the one and only Brian Scally. Scally, how you doing tonight?
Oh, hello. I'm doing well. I just got a last-minute ticket to Toronto, found a motel with a couple vacancies, so very excited.
Don't go to the bathroom.
Yeah, hold firm on the bathroom, and you'll be fine. And of course, last but not least, she is one half of the Big Deck Energy Below Deck podcast, one half of many other podcasts, Mess Magnets, and plenty more to come over the summer. It is the one only Sasha Joseph is here. Sasha, how you doing?
So excited to be here celebrating Mari's birthday. Thank you so much, Mari, for bringing us all together for your birthday podcast. And, maybe we talk this Canada show. I don't know.
We'll touch on it a little. We'll dabble. Yeah, so there's really... As Mari said, we pretty much knew all the stuff that was happening. We talked about it at the end of the spoilers last night, but top of the hour, let's talk about the main points that are here. We had a veto play out. Claudia won that veto. Claudia then opted to use it on herself and then vote out Anika, causing Anika to be the fourth place finisher of the season and leave. We also got to see a jury segment with some interesting and fun reveals. We got the jury plea video, which I did pull the audio for, so we will listen to it here and break down how bad that was. And we'll discuss what Arissa did at the end of the show, which was more question marks and exclamation points for me than anything that was necessary. So, where do y'all want to kick it off?
Can I just say this episode... I know, right? This episode really drove the nail home as to what the lack of live feeds means, because I felt like I was watching, because we knew the results. I just felt like I was like going through the motions and watching stuff play out. But because we had no live feeds, I still felt like I still didn't know why moves were made. Like I hated that feeling all season, and I'm honestly really glad that like it'll be over tomorrow, because there are so many things that I think I want to talk about in this episode where I'm like, I think they did that because of this, but then I'm like, but am I giving them too much credit? You know what I'm saying? Because we don't truly know.
Right.
And I don't know why this episode above anything made me feel like this would be more impactful if I knew the why, since we already knew the what was going to happen.
Right. Well, like that's the thing, Scally, right? We're really two things could be right, because again, like I said last night, we don't have the whole picture because we had 83 hours of content spread across 69 days, which is not a lot of hours across a lot of days, but also that leaves a lot of room for speculation. But one of two things happen, right? Either what Mari just said, we just don't know the why, and not knowing the why makes it very difficult to figure things out and piece things out. Or, yes, they didn't give us enough hours. We don't know the full reason why, but also maybe some of these players just also do not know why and are just winging it. Yeah.
That's what's hard to know. I feel like with BBUS or, BBCAN previously, we were always like, okay, we know what's going to happen, but how are they going to edit this together? Like, what did we not see in the competition or the diary rooms? And now here, I feel like we know what's going on, and it's still the abbreviated version. We didn't get anything new.
Yeah, Sasha, I feel like ultimately when we look back on this season, because I do think that a lot of people when they rewatch a season or watch it for the first time that's already aired, they just look at the episodes and then, look through the internet for some tidbits. Not really, no one's looking back at feed archives like that. So I'm curious whether you think on a binge of just the episodes, if you're like a fan 5 years from now finding the season for the first time, what do you think your thoughts are going to be watching it?
So I think that because of the fights, right, and the personalities, I do think that this cast carries in a lot of ways. I think that there is a lot of frustration we have because one, we're not getting to see feeds, and we're like, oh, you're not game bots, and you're not like gaming as well as you should be, et cetera, et cetera. So I personally feel that when the feeds conversation is removed and you're just binge watching it, it's so much fun to see a fight. It's so much fun to like yelling at everyone and all of that. So I think that it holds because I enjoy the cast.
Yeah, I feel similarly as well. I feel like had the cast, it was always going to be a double-edged sword. If the cast was good, which I do think it was, one half is okay. At least a little bit I'm getting, I'll take and I'm enjoying. But also, I wish I had more of it because I think this cast would have delivered on a lot more hours than just 83. Now, let's talk about the 43 minutes we got tonight. And obviously, we saw Ty at the end of last night's episode put up Daniel and Claudia leaving Anika off the block. At the beginning of the episode last night, he had said the noms don't matter. I just want safety. That's all that matters. Here, he adds a little bit extra. He says, noms don't matter. However, I didn't put Anika up on the block because that could help me with her jury vote just in case. And in case she makes it and gets the final three, she might remember that I didn't put her up and that could help me. Now, Sasha, you are someone who I've seen passionately ride this roller coaster of, Anika's being a dummy, but also I'm rooting for her. She's our people. So I know the feeling. I know that back and forth feeling inside. Dare I say, if you were to do this with anybody and they would take it the way Ty just described it, it would be Anika. Like she might actually be like, oh, he didn't put me up. That's good.
She said it at the end when she was walking out. She's like, thank you for using the veto on me twice. Anika, oh my God. First of all, a moment of silence for two South Asians leaving at number 4 back to back. Like
2 seasons in a row. Yes.
Here we are. We love to see us flopping. But I will say, Anika, we knew, did not know a lot about the game and showed up. And I think my frustration for Anika really comes from the fact that she just like had no fight in her anymore, right? Like the crying. And I'm not here to drag anyone's feelings, but it's more that like if you immediately go to like, I'm gonna pack my bags, I'm crying, instead of being like, Claudia, can we talk? Like you can beat me in comps, you can beat me in this, the jury hates me, and right, blame Kuzi, who cares? Like blah blah blah, all of this stuff. And then to say you're losing to Ty, period. So you should try to take me.
That one last sentence you used, you're losing to Ty if you sit next to him. Why no one said that continues to baffle me. But also, I feel like the theme for the last month of the game has been play passively, play scared from Ty because Ty's going to win the comp and I can't beat him. And if you're going to have that mentality, you're not going to be able to beat him. Of course, going into a final 3, he's the front runner, Mari. But surely you got to throw whatever you can out here. Getting 4th place versus 3rd place, the being stung regardless. But low key, I'd rather leave it final 4 and have like at least 4 or 5 days to take my L and sit there as opposed to taking 3rd place and leaving the night the game's over, knowing how close I was.
Yeah, I thought Anika here, like this plea to Claudia, all of it was inadvertently telling Claudia why she should take her. Plea aside, the word she said aside, her delivery is horrendous. Like, again, we're seeing it again. She would not do well in jury questioning at all. She cannot explain her game in a way that I think would inspire people. And so that right there is kind of like top of the reasons to kind of keep her. And I didn't feel bad because Anika didn't hit any of the points she needed to. I think her not knowing the game, this was where it really, really affected her. Because if she knew how to properly state, like, just points that are very obvious to us, at least, I think maybe it could have slithered in there. But I don't know. I was really trying to figure out why Claudia was so gung-ho about getting rid of Anika. And I'm
because Ty wanted that.
Right. But that's the thing. I'm trying to figure out if it was kind of like just because she likes Daniel more and she thinks that Daniel will take her, she has a bit better chance of Daniel taking her, or if it was a Ty thing. Because even when Claudia was talking to Ty was again giving Claudia reasons to keep Anika. And I was so confused. I'm like, is he trying to like reverse psychology Claudia? Because he's straight up telling her to her face, like, oh, if Daniel stays, he'll probably take me. I have a good chance against you. I don't think Anika would take me. And then but also not putting Anika on the block to kind of make Claudia think that him and Anika have a bigger bond than they do. Like, was this all reverse psychology? And again, this is one of those points where I'm wondering, like, what are the motives behind any of these actions? Yes.
Yeah, the why, the big question not getting answered about any of our questions about Big Brother Canada season 11 from anybody. Now, here's the thing. We could definitely talk about this more because I also have some thoughts that I want to put in there. But let's first get the veto out of the way.
Yeah.
Because for all the things I feel, my God, was I getting double FOMO tonight? First of all, because all our friends are in Toronto right now and we're here. Second, this is one of the comps that I would just love to play. This looked like so much fun. Granted, okay, so let me set the scene for anyone that's just listening to the pod and didn't watch the episode. It's an escape room. It's themed as a motel. You have to go through multiple rooms. It starts by you going through the fireplace in the billiards room to enter the motel. And each room, you have to get a key to open the door to the next room. And each room has keychains with house guest faces on them. And you got to complete those. There's some puzzles. I'm a escape room sucker, so I would have loved to do this. It would have been a good time. It was
giving escape room. It was giving Olmec's temple. I was waiting as they're crawling through. I just thought this looked like so much fun. That's something that BBCAN is always going to give you is the set design. It looked immaculate. It looked very expensive and all for one comp.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I will say the one bit that I thought maybe we didn't need was the seeing every single competitor get the phone call that's like, you have been invited to the motel, go to the fireplace. Like, that is too, come on. We know what's going to happen. You can skip the phone call for some of these, please.
I actually hated the comp. Is that bad to say?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, why?
No,
it's not bad to say.
This is such a waste of time. I don't understand the point of all of it. And to play in it, I would have loved it, right? It looked so much fun. But I think as a viewer, I was like, whoa, what's going on? What all do I need? It's not hitting all the points of one, understanding, and two, where do I go? That's number one. And then secondly, I felt like I was so confused on that the objectives was finding the keys. And maybe that's just me, but I was like, what's going on? Where is all of it? And I think third was that clue was painful. That where they had to push through for the numbers, right? The 2, 6, 7, 8, whatever. And here's why, because I think if you are smaller, you don't hit as many of the blocks out. Which is Claudia, versus I think a Daniel who maybe did. Actually, no, Ty bulldozed.
Well, he full shoved them all out.
Yeah.
But if you're in the heat of the moment and craziness, I don't know that I'm just casually knocking things down. In an escape room, you're just like pulling, grabbing, moving, all of it.
Well, here's the thing, right? I agree with you, but with Daniel goes through this block area to enter the next room, and the code is on the back of these blocks. He goes in and there's let's say 8 blocks. He knocks down 5 of them, gets through. There's 3 blocks with at least a little bit of number on them.
Yeah, like 2, 6.
Yeah, and then when he turns around, he grabs them, and I thought, oh, he noticed them. Cool. He grabs them to chuck those out and then go back out the door. I was like, you already got through. You didn't need to do that. And I think that's the key here was if you knocked all of them down, you would have potentially missed it. Because there were 2 things that caused people to get caught up. 3 of the 4 house guests got caught up on this one code that really slowed them down, aside from the putting the right keychains on the wall, those were house questions, that game information that would help you there. I believe, who was the one person who got stuck by, I think it was Claudia, who just could not figure out where to get water from as she's standing next to a tub of murky water already.
And she put her hand in it.
So every other person realized, the sink is connected to the tub thing on the other side of the wall. Let me just pour it in the sink. Claudia was filling it up and doing laps, going to the other room, coming back multiple times. And Mari, she
with a small cup.
Everyone.
Yeah. That was the crazy part. She used the smallest cup imaginable. I'm like, where did she get this cup when we had just saw Daniel using like 2 gas cans and pouring it down the sink, and she's going back and forth. If she hadn't done that, she would have smoked them by she would have had like less than double time of everybody. So I thought that was very, very interesting. I felt so bad for Daniel with that code thing, but it truly was his fault. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of agree with Sasha. Like, I love the escape room aspect of it, but it felt like it was almost like 2 types of escape rooms, because it felt like how many keys were there? Like 8 or 9 or whatever. It felt like 6 of the keys were just cool. They're right here. It's just laying on the bed.
Yes.
Yeah. And then 3 of them, you have to do like all this really special stuff. So I felt like they got lulled in a false sense of security. Like, this is an easy escape room, when really it's like an easy part and then a difficult escape room part. Because in the difficult escape rooms, because I too love some escape rooms, to check the walls. To check the walls, like it was blue light, like flashlight or something, that something could be on the wall. So I just thought that and it was a little confusing, and I thought it was interesting that they could go back and forth between all of the rooms.
Yes.
When I originally saw the code spray painted on that wall thing, I thought they were like in a room.
I thought it was sections, right? That they were starting at the far right and they're going to the left, but it was a lot of zigzagging to different rooms back and forth.
Exactly.
When I picture myself playing this, genuine stress for me is wrecking a room where I bury the thing I'm looking for underneath stuff that was not buried by, and then I screw myself. And I do feel like Daniel had that feeling, right, Scally, where he literally pushes all the door codes down, goes back into the room, spends a lot of time in it, and does not come away with the code until the very end.
Yeah, it's hard for Daniel. I feel like, especially being like the one super fan left in the house with those like blocks, like they've done it before. He should have known. I almost feel like as soon as you see it that like we've seen this. So to see him like waste time like researching rooms and like instead of actually like doing the puzzles that were in front of him was disappointing.
Yeah, and then obviously they finish this, then they get the keychains, and then there's questions like who was evicted unanimously. It's similar to the literal days comp they just did, similar questions, trivia questions. But then they have to finish all that. They hit the buzzer. If they get the green, they can leave, and then they have a staircase falls down. They got to take the staircase up, then have an action jump into a pile of garbage. But and the pile of garbage is not real garbage, obviously, but I feel like the camera angle they used in this did not do this jump service. It kind of didn't matter at the very end.
Yeah, like what was the actual point of all of that? Like, you know what I'm saying?
They wanted an action sequence.
But it felt like they were adding just more stuff to kind of like, I guess, separate the times out or something. Like it didn't. I don't remember a veto comp being set up kind of like this with the. It felt extra to me.
It definitely did, but here's why I liked it. I feel like this is a good true test of kind of the three things that come into play at the final 3 HOH. You've got the physical component of it, you've got the mental component of it, and then you've got the game information. All of these three things you put together, like the three prongs of the final 3 HOH. So I liked it as a sampler of what to expect. And for me, as a viewer, I enjoyed it because I could now see, okay, who's doing well in which part and how well are they going to do overall. Then we get the results, and Anika in 4th place, because the first thing you do when you enter that room, if you turn the knob on the radio literally turns on and says, "Welcome to the motel. Undo this word scramble with these 5 letters," and the password's guessed. She literally says in the DR, "Yeah, I didn't pay attention to it, so I just ignored it. I just didn't pay attention." It's like, okay, well, already I know you're gonna lose. But so
her with the game, I didn't pay attention to it.
It doesn't matter. I'll go back to it later. So she ends up getting 1 hour and 19 minutes. We also saw her struggle a lot with the end game keychain placements. So the game information was just trial and error until she got them. But even then, she was only 9 minutes behind Ty, who came in 3rd place at 1 hour 10 minutes. So Ty barely beats her with 9 minutes, and then Daniel barely beats Ty by 4 minutes, leaving Claudia, who got 48 minutes and 40 seconds done and dusted. So here's why I'm saying all these times out, because to me, I want to ask the three of you this question, and then we can go anti-clockwise for this one. But so we'll start with Mari. If you're Claudia and you just won this comp, knowing full well, oh, these are the things to expect in the final 3 HOH, is keeping Daniel, who comes in 2nd, the right move because you believe he'll take you to the final 2 and that's another person that you can have next to you? Or should you eliminate Daniel if your true objective is to sit at the end with Ty and you can both beat Anika easily? What do you do?
Well, I think Claudia's kind of been playing from the perspective of Ty will probably win everything. So from my perspective, if that's her thought, like Ty will probably win everything, and again, I don't know, but I think she felt like Anika and Ty are closer, so she wants to take Anika out because she doesn't want Ty to be tempted to take Anika over her. That's my thought process. I don't think she's thinking, let me keep Daniel because Daniel will take care of me, even though I think he did a good job of explaining that he would in the storage room to her. I just truly think she's thinking like, okay, I think Ty's gonna win, and I just don't want Ty to pick Anika over me. I don't know but again, this is all speculation because we truly don't know the why of it. But I don't know why she would think that Ty wouldn't choose Daniel, other than Ty has put Daniel on the block a few times and Ty's left Daniel on the block a few times. Maybe that's why, but I don't think Claudia is really thinking for herself right now, unfortunately.
Callie, do you concur?
It's like there's only a couple things to think about. If the thing is we have to get Ty out no matter what, and I can beat Daniel, then sure. Like, let's bring him and then like go to the end and win. But if you can't beat Daniel, it doesn't matter if he's going to bring you. It doesn't matter if he can beat Ty, if he can beat you. You have to take the only chance you can at winning. If that is Anika, take the 33% chance of you taking her to the end, and that's it. So it just is like, it depends on who you can beat. And if she cannot beat Daniel, then there's in no world should she be taking him.
Yeah.
Sasha, same thing.
No, yes, and I also feel that she's just playing dead at this point, right? Like, to me, the jury segment, which we haven't got to yet, but it's so obvious that they do not respect her for anything, right? And for anyone saying that like she has a chance to get to final 2, she's not cutting Ty. Like, and I hope I'm wrong and I eat crow tomorrow. That would be perfection.
That would be great.
That could be a game-winning move. Just that one cut could be. You did the one thing no one else in this house could do from week 5 on.
Yeah.
That is, that's a feat. Now, yeah. So then,
yeah, no, but that, yeah. So
I don't know.
I feel that like she's not doing that, and even maybe she somehow does it, but I think Daniel has a better chance. But the thing is that Ty has been running her game and she has shot herself in the foot twice to where now she's just like moving blind. So in fact, I think she should move with Ty to final two and just like kind of try to drag him to hell because we know he's not going to do well. Because
Well,
I think Daniel
who is
sweeps
she?
her.
I mean, okay, so then let's just jump into the jury segment because I do feel like this raised a lot of questions and I think has changed a lot of. I'll speak for me, my perceptions on what could happen tomorrow night. Actually, made it a little bit more exciting than maybe I was feeling going into what felt like a wrapped up, just handed over to Ty scenario. So we open up the jury segment. As Mari alluded to, we do see Kuzi in the sash doing a runway. It was a good time. Then a little bit of jokies with Jonathan about she said turkeys, he corrected her, said geese. She said wolves, he said coyote. So she was like, outdoors not for me, and I related to that very much because outdoors are also not for me. Now, the key things, I pulled 3 clips for tonight, and they're all from the jury house. Okay, for 2 clips are from one person. Surprisingly enough, Shania. We're going to be focusing on Shania here. The first clip I took from Shania is she's practicing punching with Zabo holding up 2 pads and she's just going in on him. This is what she had to say about that.
This stupid double eviction! Cece taking me out!
Yep, get it out.
She's still not really too happy about Cece taking her out. I think the longer she sat there, the more so she's blaming Cece for betraying her. Okay, so that's exhibit
It's
A.
Cece's fault.
Yeah, I mean,
It is. Let a man.
I mean,
think
that was
he
a
can
fumble
tell
double
me.
eviction. You know, that
Yeah,
was a fumble double
Mhm.
eviction.
But like, let a man tell me that I should be taking my closest ally out. Guess what I'm gonna do? The exact opposite. Just because I'm petty. Even if it's bad for my game, I'd be like, who do you think you are? You don't get to run this, right? And I just like take out Renee for that reason. So, and we know that they were close, right? Like that Shania and Claudia were close anyway.
Oh,
so
they were like this. It's like that, but with 3 people.
But that's what I'm
yeah.
saying. So it's and someone in the chat said this, right? Like, oh, let's not blame Claudia for like Ty's abuse or emotional. You know, he has shown who he is to her
Mhm.
constantly. It is not something that's hidden, that's like, you know, this like gaslighting, this whole thing. He has shown her who he is. He literally has told her, whoever I think I want to take to final 3, I'm going to take because I'm going to win that veto and I'm going to pick who I want to vote out. And he's saying it to her face.
Literally
Yeah.
before the veto, wasn't he laying there be like, tomorrow I'm going to win my 9th comp and we're going to go to the final 3. It's going to be easy. It's like, she's right here, man. Like,
Right.
give
But that's
her
what I'm saying. So
some
what's not
modicum of
clicking
agency
in her mind?
Right.
You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, what's not clicking?
Like Ty, you know, has not treated Claudia the best
No.
way at all. But Claudia has, like, him not treating her a certain way still to me is a separate issue than Claudia's game moves. Like
Claudia,
it
the
was-
game players moves. Yes.
Yes, exactly. Like it's 2
correct.
different things because him treating her how he did and her still nominating her best friend and getting her best friend voted out on her HOH on a double eviction. I'm sorry, there's no excuse for that. Only to protect another ally, her third ally, Renee, who she's not even as close to, just for then Renee to go out the next week. So it didn't even behoove you to take out your closest ally when it did. You could have just taken out Renee right then and there and still, you know, hope that the next week played out a little bit differently. So I'm sorry, I see why the jury blames Claudia because it is Claudia's moves. And like Pooya said, they haven't been able to get Ty out since week 5. Like literally he's been safe in some capacity, so he can't get out. So it's not like they can blame her for not taking him out. It's not like she had a shot to take him out and didn't take him out. She hasn't had a shot to take him out, but even while he's here, she's making like really dumb moves. So I think if she does get a shot at that final 3 and she doesn't take him out, oh baby, it's a clean sweep. It's
I
a
don't care
9
how
to
bad his
0.
answers are. I don't think she can
Yeah.
overcome that.
No, because it doesn't make sense. Like it truly doesn't make sense. So Claudia, from a game player perspective, she did not need to make half of those moves that she made. She did not.
I mean, again, my biggest thing double eviction night was they were talking about this final 3 plan with Renee, himself, and Claudia. If I'm Claudia, I'm like, okay, bet you want this final 3 to be a thing. I want it to be a thing. I'm going to put up Renee to test that right now. If you're really about it, keep her and we move on. We're fine, right? We're going to be good. Let me worry about Shania later. It's fine. I will do it later. Literally, she was made to prove that she wants Shania out or that she's not keeping Shania close. Did that. And then he turned around and double betrayed by taking out Renee. And you're telling me this person made me get rid of my 2 closest ones and is telling me I'm his final 2 and I'm still believing him. Why would I still believe him? Even though I feel like she should believe him.
He's like, I'm going to take who I want to take, right? Like he's not.
That's me though. You picked me, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. So then Renee is, speaking of Renee, she's making her way into the house, right? She is on her way to the jury house. And she comes out, everyone's losing their mind. She tells them Anika won HOH. They're like, oh my God, what's going on? Then we got this moment of reaction. I believe it was Zabo, Shania, and Santina in the room where Shania says this.
I'm actually so sad that Renee has come to jury. It's devastating that there's 2 girly pops here, but truthfully, I would like there to be a 3rd.
Whoa. She does not want Claudia anywhere near the money.
That's
she is,
crazy.
Yeah.
she
And
done.
that's the moment where I was like, even if Claudia personally evicts Daniel and personally evicts Ty, she still might be drawing dead against Anika. Like there might be no paths for her at this point.
We were last night talking about this and we were operating under, okay, so Claudia has 2 girly pop votes locked, potentially a Zabo 3rd added. And oh, she could get a Jonathan potentially. She could get someone else maybe. Now that has changed to me. If Shania is saying this, that has completely changed to me. I just can't see it. And I would have stayed there. But the reason why everything blew up is because Renee comes in with a special delivery of, hey, here's what the Wendy's points did. We had an auction. We were able to get stuff. And Ty bought a 1-minute jury plea to you, house guests. Would you like for me to play this? Yes. Now, I put the whole thing here. It's only 20 seconds, but I think it's important for us to hear it because I don't think I could do this justice with anything. Okay, here we go.
When I entered this house at the beginning of the season, there was 5 traits that I wanted to hold myself accountable to. Those traits are strength, courage, resilience, intellect, and poise. These are also the traits that I would love to see our season winner embody. So if I find myself in a final 2, I please ask that you judge me off of those traits. I cannot wait to reunite with you all on finale night.
Okay. So I still don't know all 5. Poise.
Oh, I haven't written down.
Resilience,
Hold on.
Strength, intellect. What's the 5th
Resilience.
one?
Courage.
Oh,
Courage.
Courage. Okay,
Courage.
yeah.
Okay. My God. You're telling me you had a minute and instead of doing what every player should do, little smoochies, little ass kissies, and also ad-libbing stuff like, you know, I played my hardest. I know you've wanted to get rid of me. And honestly, I've done everything I could to make sure I get to this stage. I really hope that I can sway you to let me represent our season and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But to be like, hey, drop everything you know about jury management and rubrics. I've got the 5 things I would like for us to use to judge the season, and I embody those things, and I want you to use them finale night. Literally, the 5 things he has mentioned, I think I could argue for at least 4 of those things not being represented by Ty.
Yes.
He's so
Exactly.
corny. Like I never met like these type of corny people just like can kick, you know, just like need to go somewhere. Because first of all, it's like, are you like pledging for a Greek organization, right? With your like 5 pillars. It's like been there, done that, baby. Like get the hell out of here. And secondly, who are you? You don't
Mhm.
deserve nothing. Guess who will vote? The jury. So you telling them how to vote is literally why his social game is in the toilet, right?
The
Like literally
toilet.
under the jail.
The best part of his video, Scally, was at the end when he said, "I can't wait to see you all, house guests." He was like,
That's-
"I can't wait for us to hang out."
That's the
best
thing.
part.
Sometimes when you're not around someone that's not your favorite person, you can stew on it, or like distance can make the heart grow fonder. You forget why you dislike them. And now that they were reintroduced to Ty, they were like, oh yeah, that's why I don't like him. Like
Yeah.
it was just kiss ass for 1 minute, but Ty refuses to pucker up. He's not going to, never has, never will. And so he completely misused this minute outside of that one sentence.
Absolutely. I feel like
Yes.
you nailed it with the fact that they have not seen or heard Ty. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. But then you've got Kuzi in that house that has literally been going to bat for this guy. And I'm pretty sure however Kuzi's representing Ty is going to be better than how Ty's representing Ty. But then for him to come in with this, and this is obviously 20 seconds, it could have been longer. I'm assuming it was longer. We didn't get the whole thing, but it's probably more of the same. Because at one point, Zabo joked about and overusing the term ball game. Zabo was not there for all the ball games. So either they told him this or he did a ball game in his video. I have to assume he did a ball game in his video. But Mari, the jurors' response to this was nothing but negative. They literally insinuated that, oh, I don't know if I'm voting for him now. They changed my mind in the wrong way.
It was so funny. It like completely undid any ground that had been laid by Kuzi or anybody else there. I think Jonathan had the quote of the night when he's like, Ty hasn't displayed the one thing that I look for in a winner, and that's humility. And I was like,
open with that,
he's
Jonathan.
right.
Open with
Like,
that tomorrow.
Honestly, truly, honestly. And so you guys said it. Taran definitely said it. That 1 minute literally hurt his game. So that might have been the smartest thing the house guest did. Let him win that 1 minute plea to the jury.
In a season where I've been nothing but wrong at every turn, that night I was like, these are a bunch of idiots. They just let him minimum bid this and get it. He just hand him the game. Why don't you? No. Maybe they did the smartest thing by playing defense. They're like, you know what? You go on ahead. You're gonna fumble your ball yourself. We don't need to hold we're defense here. We're fine. It does not matter. I genuinely think going into tomorrow now, it's completely in the air. I feel like genuinely, if Daniel can find a way to the final two chairs, Daniel's winning this game now.
Yeah.
Because aside from the reactions here, I think what we've learned in the last 48 hours is that Daniel's the one person left, and Anika would have been included in this, but she's obviously gone now. Daniel's the one person left that I think could do a passionate plea, a humble plea, a fan plea, and a plea that I think they would want to be represented by. I think if they say you messed up here, I think he will admit to that or own up to that. If one person says a negative thing about Ty, do I think Ty, who I've watched for the entire season, is going to stand up and be like, you know what, Jonathan, you're absolutely right. I didn't play with humility. No, he's going to get super defensive and fumble.
Yeah. I also think that it seems like a lot of them were rooting for Anika. We did know the breakdown that for Kuzi, it was like Ty, Anika, then Renee was her top three,
Then Daniel, Claudia, Daniel, Shania at the time.
Shania, yeah, exactly. So when they heard that Anika won HOH, everybody was like, yes. So I think Anika was the heart pick. So now, and then they went on to like bash Claudia and Ty, but now Claudia, Ty's gonna win the final four HOH. Claudia's gonna win the veto, and Claudia's gonna send Anika to jury, which I feel like will only even more make the jury.
Ooh, you got out, Anika. That was our last hope for a happy letter.
Last hope. Exactly.
I don't know that I agree. I think Ty still wins if he gets to the end with Claudia. But rather I should say Claudia also, I think, gets the girly pops votes. I think there's a way that she is smart enough to say all the right things. I mean, like friendship, and maybe make it happen, because I just cannot imagine these two girls vote for Ty over her, unless again she like fumbles the bag. But I say that because I think that Ty is gonna fumble the bag so bad that it almost brings them back to her.
I think Daniel has to win part 1 or 2 and part 3 to be there. Otherwise, there's no shot. I
Yeah.
still do think Claudia's taking Ty and Ty's taking Claudia. I don't think that changes.
Ugh,
What I would
Claudia
love then, if that is how I
ridiculous
feel,
to
if
take
for sure Claudia, when she's cutting Daniel, here's what I want. Okay. She wins. She cuts Daniel. They go to the final 2, and she says that she dragged him here because she could beat him. I just want, and just give it to me once this season. I want Ty to sit there. No, but I want it. I want Ty to sit there and have to not say anything because he can't say it. It's not his turn to speak. And I want Ty to sit there just stewing in the outrage, the audacity of what he's heard to him. I want her to say that and have him get upset. I just want that. Will it happen? No. I don't think that'll happen. But I'm petty and I want retributions, y'all. I want retributions. I want Ty to feel a little bit like I can't speak back to them. I would love that.
And are we sure that Ty is taking Claudia like 100%?
Oh, what a dumbass if he does.
I have no
What did
reason
we
to
see
think otherwise.
What did we see last year? We saw
Chef's
Josh
kiss.
cut his number 1. So at
Yeah,
this
but
point,
think of
anything is
okay,
possible.
but then you have to say, do you think Daniel's working Ty the way that Kevin was working Josh? Right? Do we think Daniel is doing enough savvy moves there? I don't know, is my honest answer.
We don't know because we don't have the feed. Don't have the feeds, or we don't. But it seems like they have had a good relationship. The biggest speed bump was the koozie of it all. But it still seems like it persevered. I think Claudia, I want to give Claudia the benefit of the doubt and say she would take Daniel because I think that somebody pointed out in the chat, Daniel was the closest to the girly pops. The girly pops love Daniel. So if Daniel is sitting next to Claudia in the finals, I think the girly pops vote for him over
Daniel
Claudia.
didn't get rid of them. Claudia
Yeah,
did.
Daniel
right?
Daniel sat right
Daniel
next to them in both
yeah, that's a
times.
difference.
Yeah.
I think here's the thing. I think Claudia right now is sitting in the jury house, not in the jury house, in the house, thinking what we thought just last night, right? Or what I thought. I don't want to put anyone else, drag anyone down with me. I was sitting there thinking, okay, yeah, she's got 2 girly pops locked and loaded. Oh, I potentially have my East Coast connection with Jonathan, and Ty got rid of Jonathan. That's my 3rd one. Dan, I don't know Dan Zabo's head is at, but also Shania and Dan were very close, and I guess we were kind of close too, so that could count for something. That's 4. I need 1 more. I win. I think that's where her mind is at. I don't think she thinks I don't have them. I'm shaky on them. So that's why I think she would still take Ty, because I think she's banking on those votes. And like you said, Mari, is a good point that she could potentially think, Daniel was pretty close to us, and Daniel absolutely has Anika and then could have the rest of the crown. Right? Could have the rest of the crown. Don't need that. Ty has koozie. What else does Ty have? I'd have to think about it some more. I don't know. I think the numbers there would have her fool herself that Ty's the move in that instance.
Also, I will say when Renee was being voted out, she said, you know what? It sucks, but that's 1 more jury vote for me. So I remember Claudia saying that when Renee was getting voted out. So that's 1. So I agree with you, Pooya. And then secondly, I think Mari, you know what you brought up for me? What Ty said yesterday about Daniel, right? He said, you a loud person, but your game is passive. And right? And first of all, if someone said that to me, I'm jumping off the stairs. Please, God. But that's why I can see maybe Ty, right? Like the last nail in his anti-humility, right? His pompous coffin is that he underestimates Daniel's quote unquote floater game. And what I wish I knew how Daniel described it yesterday, but right, like that game, he underestimates it. He knows he has koozie, so he takes Daniel and cuts Claudia, and then it's like it's curtains.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm more excited about the finale than I would have been. And I was not unexcited for the finale, but I kind of felt like, okay, we know what's going to happen. Let me just see who wins Canada's favorite. Let's get some exciting jury segment, which I feel like the jury questioning never goes the way I want it to go, or anyone does, right? It's always like too little, too short. Now I'm a little bit excited because I feel like there's a lot more questions in the air. I feel like this, and it really is peak, and absolutely this season's representative is Mari. We don't know the whys. We don't know anything. We're going into the finale with a little bit more in the air than we were before, and I'm pretty into it. So I'm very much excited for that part of it. Now, the veto happens. We see the jury segment. All that's done. We get to the campaigning portion, which we've already talked about a little bit. So at one point, after they both do their speeches, they were both, Daniel and Anika were in, not the speeches, but the pleas to Claudia. Daniel and Anika were in the same room crying, and Anika said, "Thank you for always being there for me." And I heard from the other room, because I was watching it, taking notes in my room. From the other room, I just hear Liana say, "Boo, boring." I was like, okay, she's watching BBCAN. She's watching BBCAN. Okay. They were again, these two are never going to turn on each other. Again, Anika's completely convinced herself that Kuzi betrayed her by throwing her under the bus, so she will not do that to Daniel. Very boring. Weird. Very boring situation here.
Not throwing Daniel under the bus to even say, like, Daniel will beat you. Like, it, let alone Ty will beat you. Like, Daniel will too. And I'm not leaving you. You can pack my bags if you make the mistake of evicting me tomorrow. But like, I'm not leaving. There's no way that they should be like as passive.
It's the final four, right? And yes,
Right.
These are friendships you've made. These are bonds you've made. I've known you 2 months out of my 28 years, or I don't know how old Anika is, but it's 2 months, right? I've known and been acquainted with so many more people outside of this house that I would be bringing home this bread to, that I'd be sharing with. Daniel and I, our bond's so strong. In a week, we're going to be out of this house having drinks, being fine, right? That's how you're supposed to think about it. Like, it's been 2 months. It's been 2 months, okay? It's just been 2 months.
And I want to say, this is just like human nature, right? Like, if you're about to get kicked off a boat, you're going to try to fight really hard to stay on said boat.
No, you grab a violin and you join the orchestra as the Titanic sinks, apparently.
Right? Like, my God. To me, I don't even feel like it's about the game, and it's about knowing a game. It's that I'm being voted out. I would like to win the money, and, I would just like to win. So I'm going to do what I need to do. But it's like these people that are so stuck on being like pure and loyal and blah, blah, blah. Shut up. This is Big Brother. Like, get over yourselves. And no one's even saying to be like, Daniel's a bad person. You're already throwing Kuzi's ass under the bus. So what is the problem to just be honest and say, I am better for your game than he is? Right. This whole I will respect you, you do whatever you want. Why? Like, have a backbone. And it's so, I don't know, it's frustrating to watch because there's so many fans that want to get on, and these people get on.
Well, that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
And I think you nailed it, where you cannot do a complete switch up. You're like, you know what? Daniel is garbage. He is awful. He's bad for your game. He's the worst thing to happen. Because then they will never believe you. Like, that doesn't come off believable. It needs to be the halfway of, I really like him. He's like my brother. He's been my guardian in this game. He's, everything. But even I know that he'll beat me. I know I don't stand a chance against him. I know you won't stand a chance against him. I know that I'm going to go into that jury house and, plead his case. I know there's already other people working on pleading his case because they've told me that part could be a lie. It does not matter. You need in that moment. Claudia kind of got the worst deal because she found out that the eviction was happening and has an hour or more to sit on that decision. Mess with her head a little bit by just doing that. Again, throw a little bit of, pepper in some doubt and let her self-marinate on that, because at the end of the day, you might still get voted out. And if you truly feel like you respect the decision no matter what, then that's fine. You don't care. But give yourself a bit of odds here, because I do feel like Daniel did not throw Anika under the bus, but Daniel at the very least said, You and I have seen eye to eye. We've been the two people from the opposing alliances that kind of hooked up from the beginning. I really respect you. I've loved playing this game with you. And, you know, I feel like I could potentially help you out going in down the line. And I feel like that's all you needed. And then he goes into the room with Anika and says, and lies to Anika and says, yeah, I just told Claudia that I respect her decision no matter what. And that's it. I didn't talk about myself or you. Big lie. But that was enough for Anika to be like, oh, I'll do the same thing then.
Idiot.
Yeah, we definitely got robbed of this season in a sense of like the culture that was created in the house was like pick your team and stick with your team and ride to the end with your team, which normally makes for a very fun season. You know, BB6. Well, actually both BBCAN6 and BB6.
Yeah.
You know, but the problem was we had sides to the house, but neither side was winning competitions. It was a lone wolf who was winning competitions, and the sides couldn't properly go to war because they didn't have the power to hit against each other. So it was like the power is in the hands of a madman that they both sides had to end up bowing to. And then this madman is like, oh, where's the loyalty? You got to be loyal in order for me to help you. It's like, nobody cares about loyalty. Like, who's
he loyal to?
Why are we still talking about this koozie stuff? It's been weeks, y'all. Anika, it's been weeks. It doesn't make sense. Like, Ty really did a number on Anika because in this plea, she's talked about how she played an honest, loyal game and she never lied to anybody except for when Kuzi was lying to her. It did not make sense. Why are you talking about this right now? None of this matters.
Listen, I'll say this: if Anika was in that jury house, this plea would have worked for her. The 5 pillars, she'd be like, "Yes, I agree. This is exactly what we need to represent this game for sure." Again, I've said this from the double eviction, even a little bit earlier. The remainder of the house since double has been very passive, has not really been playing, has not really been self-interested enough for my taste. And I think obviously the common denominator being with Ty continuously winning and taking the power essentially away from your hands completely, where you are stuck because, oh, the HOH is from the other side and they're going to take one of us. It's like, okay, well, it's been fun, huggies. And I feel like it's been like that back and forth, right? So it's kind of made it a little bit meh. And it has given all the agency to Ty. But then also when we look back at it, and this is why I think the question of the binge is interesting to me, because I think the episodes themselves make it look like it was a little bit more ooh, but we know it hasn't really been ooh for a while now. And I think that this was best case scenario. By Ty fumbling the plea, I think we get a little bit more of an exciting end. I really hope that seeing the finals, seeing the stage set up, maybe that zaps everyone that's left back to reality of, okay, I'm literally about to see my mom, my family, my friends in 24 hours. Let me go home with that change. Let me go home with that wad of cash. I really hope that happens, but we don't know. After all this, Claudia thinks about it and literally works out, okay, I see a scenario where Daniel will take me to the final 2, but I don't see any scenarios where Anika does take me to final 2. But then when she goes to Ty, again, kind of hits her with the mental marination and gives her the opposite of that, where Anika will take you to the final 2. She won't take me. Daniel might take me to the final 2, won't take you. And then hearing that, she still went with that. So maybe she went with her gut here, Scally.
I don't know. I feel like Claudia has had bricks for hands all season, just fumbling at every opportunity. And it's just like, I can't have faith in any of her decisions because she doesn't have faith in her own either. It makes it really difficult to like give her credit when she actually does make a move because she doesn't stand behind it. And that's the same here with Anika versus Daniel. It is like very passive. It's like, oh, it's who I have a better relationship with. Like, I don't care who you have a better relationship with at all at Final 3. It's who can you beat? Who is going to help you take out Ty if that's your like goal? Do something that is going to advance your game.
Right. When she votes out Anika, she ends up uttering the words, at this point, it's beneficial for me to keep someone I have a game relationship with. I choose to evict Anika. I think that was supposed to be a direction to Daniel of, I'm with you, let's do this. But to me, it didn't hit that way, if that makes sense. To me, it felt more like a dick to Anika than it did a Daniel, I'm riding with you, right? It was like, well, Anika, you didn't work on me enough. Bye. Like, that's how I took it. It wasn't the positive way that she may have wanted.
Isn't wrong, right? Like, to me, if I'm Anika, baby, I'm not winning anything. I won a 17-second comp that basically was handed to me. So what am I doing at final 6, right? I need to start figuring out who's making it to the end, because me and my damn team are not winning shit without Kuzi. So I need to make some moves. I need to start at least being nice to people. Like, damn. But instead, what we don't know, right? We don't know what she was doing, is my point.
Right.
But it seems like she was not really talking to Claudia. And I don't know what these players think is going to happen when you get to the end and you don't have any relationships. Like, at least be fake.
Well, I think Anika almost was fueled by W's in the column. It felt like when the crown was on the good side and when there were plenty of crown to go through, and it didn't matter if Ty won the veto. It's like, okay, well, it's going to be Jonathan. All right, it's going to be Hope. That's fine.
When they
Kuzi
saved
betrayed us.
Ty, you mean?
Right. When it came all the way down to herself and Daniel, her true allegiance, her true final 2, she didn't try. And I think until then, she was throwing people a little bit under. She was like, we don't really trust this person. We don't really mess with this one. Doesn't matter. Then with Daniel, she just took her foot off the gas completely and just let him, get through. But also, counter argument, I almost feel like her plea was so bad that if I'm Claudia, I'm thinking, I don't think she can beat me in a verbal joust. I could take her on in the final 3.
And physical.
Yeah, so Anika, in a way, Anika almost campaigned the best way she could by not campaigning to Claudia, right? So that could have helped, but it didn't. Anyway, it's fine. Here's the last thing we have on the docket here. Actually, let's talk about this real quick. So in the eviction interview afterwards with Arissa, Arissa asked Anika, hey, so what were your thoughts on, Claudia just got rid of you. Like, what are your thoughts on this? She's like, well, to be honest, Claudia, I'm not a big fan of. She used that showmance as a crutch. I was like, okay, that's a quick switch up. Okay, maybe you did care about who she gets rid of and you don't respect the decision she made.
Yeah.
So to me, that's a big indicator of where her vote's going. Obviously, she's going to have like 4 or 5 days in the jury house, so that could change. But that's not one for Claudia right now. That's one for Ty. But she did say that she wants Daniel to win. She's going to be going in pleading for Daniel, and she thinks Daniel can win. So needless to say, if Daniel's at the end, she's giving her vote to Daniel. Whoever's sitting next to Daniel doesn't matter.
What does she do when she finds out Daniel ratted her out to the girly pops?
She's never watching this show back. She will never know that.
No, so they're not going to tell her in jury?
Tell her what?
That they told us. The girly pops, aren't they going to be like, he told us y'all were working together, or that y'all had a final 2? Because he said Anika and Kuzi had a final 2. Daniel did.
Oh,
the girly pops.
I mean, they might be wrapped up in so much other stuff unless she directly asks. I don't think that would ever come up. I'm telling you, Anika's never going to watch the show back.
Oh, no,
She's
I wasn't
very
talking
content to move on with her life, I feel like.
Yeah, no, I don't think later on. I'm just talking about, in jury.
You meant in the jury.
I feel like, because she'll be like, Daniel. And then the girly pops will be like, he threw you under the bus, girl. Shut up.
I mean, maybe if like Hope was there as the alternative vote, but when the alternatives are Claudia and Ty, I don't think it's getting swayed regardless of what she
Nothing can be spun in that jury house to make her vote Claudia at this point, I don't think. A lot will have to be spun for her to change it to Ty if Daniel's at those final 2 chairs. I really don't think a lot's going to change there. Last thing, y'all. So Arissa tells us for the first time in BBCAN history, we're going to give the final 3 a sneak peek of what to expect. And I thought, I don't know how I feel about this. They're going to see what part 1 looks like, what part 2 looks like. That's a lot of time to mentally prepare. That feels like an unfair advantage to someone. Maybe it's a lot of stairs and they can practice steps for like 4 days. I don't think that's fair. She repeats it again. She tells them to come out and sit down. For the first time, we're going to give you an insight onto what to expect. and it's the goddamn Little Mermaid trailer. That is the sneak peek. It's the Little Mermaid SpawnCon. They literally said last bit of airtime before finale, SpawnCon. We're sponsored by the Little Mermaid here.
I was so upset. I am fighting for my life to not hear this song before I am sitting in the movie theater. I don't watch trailers, and now I'm watching Big Brother Canada, and they're trying to spoil me again. Yeah, not happy. Like, this is not what I wanted.
Was this the secret 9th sponsor that they said in the preseason? I think it might be.
Oh, is this the secret sponsor?
So they're
That is
going
funny.
to BB12 if Disney is a sponsor. They making that cash. Let me tell you.
Listen. I'll give them this. Arguably the biggest movie to sponsor Big Brother, not just Canada but US as well. I think they've dominated any of the movies the USA got, so that's huge. Did not expect this. That it's the trailer to The Little Mermaid. Looked good, but I knew in the back of my mind, I'm like, Scally avoids trailers for everything. He's going to be very annoyed that he has to sit through this.
Hands over the ears, la 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 la. I'm not watching. I was like, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off.
And then that was it. That was the preview. But also, worry not, Mari, because the winner of the final HOH will also get 2 tickets to the Canadian premiere of The Little Mermaid. One last bit of sponsored content and reward.
I mean, I'm not mad at this sponsor because I was just like Daniel. He's like, "That's my girl." I was like, "Yes, Hallie, yes." You know, I see you, BB. Like, this is some good rollout for a Disney live action movie. I'm sorry, Little Mermaid been everywhere. Anyways, that aside, what does this have to do with the challenge? The only thing I could think of is what was it? Last year for BB 24, they did the mermaid. You know, they did the mermaid thing,
right,
where they were in the tails and they was pushing balls like the Taylor. I just remember the one where Michael
the
won,
veto comp.
The veto comp,
Yeah.
But also didn't BB? I think BB19 did a mermaid one as well. I just remember Kevin.
I remember Kevin, the gif of Kevin in the yeah. So I feel like. And this is, we're about to enter complete over analyzing of footage.
Allegedly.
The allegedly section of the pod. I feel like there was a big focus on Ursula's like tentacles. So I feel like there's going to be some kind of tentacles involved here potentially. There's a karaoke part 2, Scally. No, there's none of that. I don't know, right? Because the way they themed this, I'm like, okay, so 1000% part 1 is the sponsored moment, because there is no world where they're like, okay, so to the tune of Under the Sea, the house guests in the jury house sang a tune. Who sang which verse? That's not going to be a comp. It's 100% just visually, whatever part 1 is, because that's always the big Hollywood moment, right? Last year it was the spy stuff. Yeah. This year, that's going to be the theme of part 1. Don't know what part 2 is going to look like. Don't know what part 3 is going to look like. But I think it's that. But then if it is just part 1, then technically is it just the winner of part 1 gets the tickets and you win part 2 and 3 and win the whole thing? You don't get tickets?
It could be all 3 parts. You could have just like, okay, the first endurance comp is under the sea themed, and then the next part is, I don't know, Kiss the Girl or Ursula or whatever the case may be.
Oh yeah, that could be possible. And then part 3 can just have the banner for Little Mermaid on it, right? Somewhere, and that's it.
So a good endurance comp could even be that they're just like finding stuff, right? Because part of Ariel's story is she likes to find human thingamabobs. So I can just see her like the part of Your World song, and then it's just like them having to find specific items.
Yeah. I
Part
could see
3
that.
is just Little Mermaid trivia. What species of fish is Ariel best friends with?
A horrible looking flounder.
That would be the funniest way to end the season if Final 3 just becomes thrown out and it's all about the Little Mermaid.
I'd win. That's my favorite Disney movie. I could do it, I think.
I see a question in the chat that I want to bring up for speculation. Who do y'all think, because I'm assuming there'll be a jury roundtable, right? Who do you think is going to be the person they bring out for that? Because I do think the question in the chat mentions Kevin, And I do feel like Kevin's the face they started the season with, right? They had the statue of him had to be built and stuff. He's front and center in the portrait, and he's accessible. I feel like Kevin is probably who they got. And let me say this, I have no idea, because Kevin would never tell us.
Here's the thing. You're telling me they called Rachel Riley to Canada from LA.
Make her pull double duty?
Yeah, from LA. I think they still live in LA, right? And she's not hosting the jury.
I feel
round
like
table.
if you have Rachel for the round table and you waste the surprise on the Wendy's sponsorship, that's like,
Right, because this eviction was Saturday, right? We believe it was Saturday or so she would have still been around, right? Like probably, maybe, possibly. So yeah, get her over there. Yeah, the round table's probably taped at this point, done for sure.
Right, that's what I was about to.
Live.
That was about to be my question. I was going to say, well, when do we think this was taped?
No, I think the finale. So the finale will probably be taped sometime tomorrow, but I don't think they're doing the jury roundtable segment tomorrow. I think that's long been done because that's when Anika would have entered as the 4th place finisher at, right? That's where they would have met her. So that was probably recorded, let's say Saturday or Sunday, is my assumption, and then they've just been from there on. We've just been chilling. So. It could be Rachel, could be Kevin. Those are kind of the 2 places I'm at. And I think I'm going to lock in that answer. I think it's one of those 2. I think potentially Rachel's double dutying because she got to meet all the house guests and now gets to meet the rest of them. That's a shout. Or it's Kevin because he's the latest winner. And also someone in the chat does mention they did end with showing the portrait of him with him like the last face on that portrait.
But he is the last winner.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like Kevin is like the obvious pick, and I will be like almost like offended for him if it doesn't happen.
If it's not him,
like, we've had much more questionable picks. So I feel like Kevin's an easy chalk pick that should be there.
Yeah. Okay, then before we start wrapping things up here, I have one last question for each of you. Call your shot, Mari. Who is going to be the winner of BBCAN11 tomorrow night?
Like, I want to say Daniel. Okay. But I feel like we've convinced ourselves that it's not going to be Ty, and it's still just going to end on a flop, as a certain other winner would say. But I'm just gonna put in there. I'm gonna say Daniel. I'd always rather
be wrong than right in this instance.
Yeah.
Okay. Scally.
Okay. I have been at a certain point in this season just rooting for the comedy of it all. And I kind of feel like the comedy would be Claudia walking backwards into a win. But I still think it's Ty, like just winning another comp, going ahead and taking it. No one could stop him. And like while you were busy worrying about each other, this was the guy that you should have been worried about all along.
And Sasha.
Yeah, it's giving nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up like Ty is. I think unfortunately gonna be the winner because me think Claudia and Daniel are not aware. Like Daniel's more aware, but is Daniel winning? I don't know. Claudia girl head in the clouds. So which is why I think he ends up there with Claudia and he wins. But you know, if Daniel gets, please Daniel, somehow I'm pulling him to the finish line at this point. So let's see.
All right, well, y'all tune in tomorrow night at 9
Wait, did you give
PM.
your answer?
I will give it in a second.
Okay.
I was like, tune in tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, because the finale is going to be later tomorrow, to find out whether A, Ty gets his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wins in the bank account, or if Claudia slays her showmance for a win, doesn't slay her showmance and accidentally wins, keeps her girly pops, or whether or not Daniel's hug with Rachel Riley really did give him the mojo he needed to finish the season. Currently, while I am still saying there's a lot of questions in the air and I'm curious how it'll play out, I have to imagine it's still Ty's game to lose. I feel like he's come in such a Goliath in these comps. I think he's guaranteed to win part one, it feels like. Part two, that's a very fun matchup, I think, between Claudia and Daniel. I'm actually very keen to see how that plays out. Part three could be where he fumbles. We did notice tonight with the keychains, he had a little bit of issues there, but then was able to pull it back and get that result done. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll see how it plays out.
I'm sorry, Pooya, real quick, one more thing. So this veto is more like which part of the HOH?
Okay, so it's got some physical aspects, right? The constant back and forth. You got to run. You got to keep. Okay, then it's got the mental, because you got to be patient. You can't let the moment overrun you. You got to figure out these little puzzles. And then part three is the house information that you need, right? Kind of like the part three HOH where it's all game trivia. That's why I think it encapsulates all three in a little veto that they put together.
Yeah, and that's more like part two of
I would say two, personally.
Overall, if it's 1-for-1 comparison, I think it's more like part two than anything. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which then would make it interesting, because then the top two in this veto would be the two to compete in part two if Ty does win part one.
Right. And like part one is normally them going back and forth collecting things, right? The
more
part
often
one,
than not, it's like a stackums, right? Like a stack'em,
yeah.
go through a obstacle. Yeah.
Yeah, I just vividly remember like BBCAN 6 with them going back.
I could see it being the stack'em, and then they got to stack the things on Ursula's, like, no, who's got the trident? Was it Ursula's trident or
Trident?
It's the king's, yeah, it's the king's one, right? I haven't watched The Little Mermaid in a minute.
Correct that.
I could see it being on the trident. Okay, I was avoiding spoilers, Scally. Okay, surely you would
the
respect
OG
it.
movie.
Yeah, I'm not watching it, so I don't spoil myself on it, because I've kind of forgot it.
Stop the madness.
Play 4D chess, folks. Play 4D
Stop
chess.
the madness.
It could be the
out.
trident, maybe. We'll see. I wonder if anyone. I don't. These house guests don't have it in them. But you know how sick it would be to be sitting against Ty at the final two and be like, one of us tried to quit during the season, one of us didn't. They will never do that. But there
these
is
integrity
ammo.
people,
The courage, the poise, poise.
Jesus. Ty ain't never had an ounce of poise.
I'd be like, he needs the poise because he kept shitting the bed. Like, please.
Poise definition: graceful and elegant bearing in a person. Where? Find me the poise. Locate the poise on this map, please.
Is the poise in the room with us right now? Like, I don't...
Someone bring their paranormal kit, because we need to find the poise. We can't. I think Ty sitting at the final two against someone that would verbally go toe to toe and like try and destroy him would be so much fun. Because we're not getting that, I'm not as excited. Anyway, we should probably wrap up now. It's about time. So let's get the plugs going here. Thank you, everyone, for coming through. Hope you've had fun with me hosting these last two nights. Tomorrow night at 11 something p.m., because the show ends at 11. They might need a little setup, but they are going live from Toronto. They'll be live. So definitely come back here after the finale to check it out, see what they're up to, because I will be. But until then, Mari, where can people find you? What are the projects you have going on?
Okay, you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at Mari Talks Too Much. That's 2 like the number 2. Over on Twitch, I've been streaming a game called Dredge. It's a horror fishing game. It's really fun. You can go and watch the VOD. I've also been putting the VODs up on my YouTube since mine disappeared really quickly. But go follow me over there. And then also me and Matt Scott did a drag race. We tier listed all of the lip syncs from Drag Race All-Star seasons 1 through 7, and we had to do it in 2 parts because it's over 70 plus lip syncs and we had a lot to say. So that can be found on my Twitch channel right now, and it can be found on my YouTube as well. Also, me and Sarah Carradine bring you True Crime Tuesdays every Tuesdays over on the Crime Scene podcast, where we watch true crime docuseries, documentaries. We review them and tell you if you should watch them. We just dropped our one about Death by Fame, an ID discovery show, and we were joined by the wonderful Date with Dateline girls. So it's a really fun episode. Definitely go check that out. I was also with the Pooya here. We on the Hot Mess Express for 90 Day Fiance this week, so that was fun. And of course, over on post show recaps, I was on the Yellow Jacket podcast this week. The Yellow Jacket team really walked me through all of the different theories the fans have. I was deep into Yellow Jacket territory this week, so you can go catch that on post show recaps. And also, I was with Sasha and Sarah on with the Dark Walk crew, doing episode 3 of Queen Charlotte. Again, I'm summoning Queen Charlotte tonight, and it was very fun. So a lot of podcasts this week, but just follow me on Twitter, and I'll repost everything I'm doing. That's it. Whew.
Thank you, Mari. Booked and busy and birthday, the 3 B's in Mari's life. Happy birthday once again, Mari. Thanks for coming on tonight. Scally, what you got going on, bro?
Anything I'm doing is over on Twitter at Brian_Scally, talking about the Challenge World Championships, which is finishing up. That's been fun over on the Dom and Colin podcast feed with Matt Lagori, so people should check that out. And then again, anything I'm doing will be on Twitter.
Perfect. Sasha.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at funsize_04 to know everything I'm up to. But check out Mess Magnets, a pop culture hot topics podcast. Check out Below Deck Sailing Yacht, aka Big Deck Energy, where I cover Below Deck Sailing Yacht with Rob. But Pooya was on this week, so it was so much fun. Check all of that out, and I'm covering Queen Charlotte over on post show recaps and The Power on Amazon. I guested on a few podcasts last week as well, so just follow me on Twitter to check all of that out. And, make sure you give Pooya his props for being Mr. RHAP this week. He's been around.
Yes.
So
exactly.
he deserves it. So make sure you do that, all right?
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's been an honor. It's been an honor these last 2 nights to get to host here, and I've had a fun time, and it wouldn't have been possible without the lovely guests that were here with me. Otherwise, it'd be me yelling into a microphone nonsensically, which no one needs. Y'all can find me on Twitter at Pooyaism. You can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Pooya. If you're looking for me on other podcasts, 90 Day Fiance with Mari this week was a good time. Masked Singer will be getting released before the weekend, the semifinals. Leon and I will be covering that before the finale kicks off next week. I was on with Sasha, of course, for Below Deck. I recorded a very fun soon to be released project today with one of our lovely panelists here. You don't know which one. You'll find out later. And other than that, we hope you had fun with us. Tomorrow night, again, finale's at 9 p.m. Eastern. It'll run till 11 p.m. Eastern, after which RHAP will go live from Toronto somewhere in the 11 to 11:15 mark. It'll be about 40 minutes worth of pod, so make sure you're here to watch that. But until then, take care. Have a good one. Bye.